Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. I just need a moment to do the login stuff that the town asks us to do. Um. Nope, their host key is not working. Today is March 29th, right?
Yes.
So
Correct.
I'm looking at the right email. Okay.
You want me to text Sherry?
Yeah, I guess so. If
Give me a second. Let me grab my phone.
yeah.
What do we need? We need the host code.
The host code, 6-digit host code, and the one I have in the email from her, she sent me an email on February 22nd. That one is not working.
Okay, for ESC land.
What would we do, Sherry?
Sherry works all the time. It's crazy.
Yep, agreed.
She has the best thing in her signature. Says, "My hours might not be your
Yes.
hours." I love that. Like,
Yeah. Good to point out. Because her hours definitely are not my hours.
I know.
I can emails nights, weekends, from her.
I know. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather.
Oh, I'm getting a call here. I'm not sure if this, I doubt it's
maybe.
to do with the call, but let me see.
This is a courtesy reminder from Astound.
No, that's sorry, that was my internet was out right before this call. It came back like 4 minutes before the call, which is why I didn't do the login earlier. And
So do we need? It is recording,
internet,
right?
Right.
It is
Anybody-
recording. I mean,
And anybody should be
Well,
able to get on, right?
yeah,
Yes.
it's transcribing. It might not be saving the transcript in the right place without the host key. But maybe it's okay. I don't know. And then I don't think I can screen share. Oh, I can also screen share.
Oh, so you must be.
You might. I think you're fine. It says it's recording.
Yeah.
It's either it's recording somewhere.
But it consistently said that there was no that it was an invalid host key. So I'm not sure what it's not doing, but if we can screen share and it's recording, that's fine. And if it's not recording, then our wonderful words will be lost for transcription, but I think it still might be set to auto record because it said it was
Yes.
recording the meeting when we logged on. So
Yes, it is.
the worst
think
case
we're
scenario is
probably
we don't have a
good.
transcription.
Right.
So
We can always add on a transcription if needed. There's services to do that. Okay.
yeah, but I'm not sure how high the probability is that anyone will ask.
I don't think it's too high.
So we might have a public participant joining us as well. So I'll start taking notes here. Okay, call to order at 7:05 p.m. And we have a few public participants. So all right, so hi everyone who just joined us. You've joined the Land Use Subcommittee of the Environmental Sustainability Committee for the town of Wakefield, and we got started a few minutes late because of some technical glitches or possible glitches. But you should be able to see our minutes, and we're about to head to public engagement. So if you'd like to give public comments, now's the time. Eleanor Axelrod, you can just mention where you live and state what you'd like to share. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, that was weird. Thank you, and hi, Eleanor Axelrod, Wakefield. I love that you guys are talking about land use. Obviously, I've been engaged in the vocational issue, and I'm pretty new to public participation at town events. But I guess I wanted to say a couple of things. You know, I'm hoping in your, land use planning that we're taking some of the knowledge captured by the state, in terms of their inventory of the most important forests and things like that, core forest, and things that have already been mapped through the biomap project. That seems like, to sort of form a baseline of, what open spaces should be protected, and kind of looking at that versus just kind of creating offsets of new parks. I see on your agenda you have, you're going to discuss conservation corps, and one thing I wanted to bring up was 100 years ago, one of the issues facing FDR was a drought, but a lot of human-induced climate change due to excessive logging and clearing of fields for agricultural purposes. The dust storms rolled into Washington, D.C. from the Midwest, and he launched the Conservation Corps, which actually planted trees. Those men planted trees in Breakheart Reservation on the Saugus side. Sorry, my cat in the background. FDR recognized the need of needing to preserve forests, and it's that part of it. The soil's not the same when you replant, right? It's better to keep the original. In this day and age, I'm sorry, when we are at a, we're about to lose topsoil in 50 years. I'm so sorry. Anyway, and water, and there are water shortages. So again, in terms of a land use perspective, I'm very upset about the vote, but beyond that project, I just think in terms of Wakefield, really sort of prioritizing safeguarding those assets which people beyond Wakefield use. And it is last point, it is my understanding that Wakefield has for some time been trying to develop a hockey rink or athletic facilities. And the original plans were to clear that Article 97 land and use it for that. So again, I have kids that do sports, and it's awesome to have those facilities, but I think trying to prioritize and make sure we keep our precious parks and land safe. That's it. And I apologize, I have somebody coming in. This is going to be.
All right. No, thank you very much for sharing your comments. I don't know, Julie, any responses?
A couple things. I'm glad you mentioned the soils in Massachusetts, because Massachusetts has a new Healthy Soils Action Plan, which is a recommendation for trying to preserve the topsoil, especially new ways of developing sites rather than stripping them of all the trees, stripping of the topsoil, better native plantings, more green infrastructure. And that's incorporated in the draft of the update of the open space plan. And the engineering department has also been looking into trying to incorporate green infrastructure as well. They've done a couple of bioretention areas along the lake, and they have a few more planned. There's one adjacent to the new pickleball court at Betts. So that is on the radar, and I'm hoping it will expand, especially the healthy soils recommendations. I think those are really important, where we have such little land left. So maybe looking at smaller developments and seeing how we can best utilize native plantings and household bioretention areas. You know, try to get some type of program off the ground to develop some interest and some education around that. The Conservation Commission is going to have a seminar in the summer from a company in Charlestown, Offshoots. We had one a year or two ago that focused on bioretention, phytoremediation. So this is going to, again, try to focus on backyard retention of your own stormwater, the importance of backyard carbon sequestration, and just trying to get the word out on, you know, a more granular level, what you can do in your own backyard. And hopefully that will take off into a broader conversation about that.
Thanks, Judy.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add. Just appreciate the insight and the input, the expertise that you're sharing.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And also, Eleanor, I just want to mention, in case you're not familiar, because I do want to make sure that you know, so we do we're capturing all your input here, but we are a subcommittee, really a working committee of the Environmental Sustainability Committee, and the Environmental Sustainability Committee itself is not a decision-making body, but rather a volunteer committee, well, appointed volunteers in the town. So you know, so we advocate on we look to improve sustainability outcomes and programs in Wakefield, but you know, we don't directly have oversight over the vocational school site or other things like that. But you know, we will bring this feedback to the larger committee, and we have provided input on some of these processes and things you've raised concerns about. So
Is it okay for me to respond?
sure.
It's no, I think it's wonderful, and I understand, you know, you don't have decision-making authority, and Judy, I think it's wonderful if we have these resources to share with other people. I think we can do so much in the town to be more green. I
agree.
try to do just native plantings and no water, you know, trying to
Right.
you know, reduce turf, all those things. So it's wonderful. And I just want to reiterate my enthusiasm, and hopefully this can, you know, as people get more enthusiastic, it can actually have some teeth with some of the decisions we make in town.
Right, right.
Thank you.
There is an open space plan forum for Thursday, April 27th. If you're interested, that will be via Zoom. That will be posted on the town website.
See, we have one other public participant, with screen name Forrest. I don't know if you also had comments for public engagement.
Hi, no, I was just listening in to the conversation. And
Okay.
yeah, I know I'm with, this is Kavita, and I know Eleanor, but we've been wanting to save the forest and, you know, all green spaces, if I may say something about that.
Sure, but I just need you to identify yourself by first and last name, and where you're joining us from.
Okay, I think I know Eleanor has done what's needed, so I'll just be quiet.
Okay, sure thing.
Thank you.
All right, that looks like it for public engagement. So we'll move on in our agenda to the next item, which is wasn't sure if there'd be any updates or not to share, but vocational school land use issue update. I don't have any updates from my end, but Judy, I don't know anything you wanted to raise on this?
It's still under review in front of the Conservation Commission. They're going through some of the stormwater issues at this point. So that's still an active process.
Great. And Julie, anything?
No, I don't have any other information on it.
Okay, and I was just looking one thing up here. You know, I do know that the public attention is continued. You know, the petition still gaining signatures and things like that. I know, so you know, and I know that there were a lot of people who I didn't hear what the attendance was, but a lot of people are planning to be at that last school board meeting a while ago, which was the one that, not the building committee meeting, though, it was the general school meeting. So I don't know what happened there.
I actually should clarify that, Sean. I did hear at the town council meeting on Monday night that the petition that was made to MEPA, the Massachusetts Environmental Protection Act, I guess, they had requested some additional documentations before they're going to respond. So that's all I know.
Okay. All right, sorry, just making a fast note on that before we move
that's
on. Okay. Next item, open space recreation plan process. Judy already mentioned the April 27th public meeting. I know from my involvement in that just that there's a draft, the draft survey to town residents has been circulated to the committee for comment in the last day or two. So Judy, I don't know if there are other things from your
No,
perspective you want
the
to share,
survey
or-
will be, the survey will be after the public forum, and
Yeah.
they will be available online. They're planning to have them at town hall, the library, council on aging. Council on Aging is going to include it in their May newsletter, and the civic center as well. So we're hoping to get some good input. And it's a short survey, so it's a more concise, it's not going to be a long read for people.
Yeah.
So that's always good.
Yeah, I took a fast look at that. I hadn't sent back in comments yet, but I didn't have tons of comments. It looked pretty good, and I mean, made
I think
sense.
so.
And I think they want to keep it parsimonious, and that makes sense as well. So yeah, thanks. Your memory of the distribution plans were better than mine. I was at that meeting, but I didn't recall everything that came up. All right. I'm trying to look and see what. I don't think there was a full set of dates circulated for next steps after that, right? It's really the
No, we're going to do the forum, and then after that, there'll be another subcommittee meeting,
and pick the
and
rest
then
of
there'll
the
be a
dates.
second forum, right?
Yeah, so I think in terms of the original plan, we're a little behind schedule, but not much, right? Just a matter of weeks, not more than
Right.
that. Yeah, so
Right, yeah.
okay. All righty. Anything else then on open space recreation plan process?
No,
All right, next one, public land interest updates.
I have an update on the tax title properties. We have contracted with the title examiner, so that process is beginning finally, which is great.
Okay, and
It'll
so
take a
sorry, that
little
was
time.
the what was that? What did you call
The
those
tax
properties?
title property,
Tax title. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Judy, that means that they'll basically look at anything that the town owns because of tax title. Is that what that means? Or
Correct.
that have come to the town through the tax
Correct.
process?
And a
Okay.
lot of them were taken in the 50s,
Right,
so they've been hanging around for a while.
that's really great.
So-
And the end report of that,
Yeah.
the end result will be a report, we think?
Yes, and the Conservation Commission, I know, is going to make recommendations of parcels that they would like to see transferred under their care and custody.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it should, I'm hoping it'll kind of dovetail somewhat with the open space
Yeah.
plan update. Yeah, but I think that'll be a huge boost.
That's really great. I mean,
And
I
that's
think I've
all.
said it on this meeting before, like, I don't like those coming to town council and not understanding what they are. So I
Right.
think that's gonna be a really useful
Right.
tool.
And it opens the conversation on, what would we like to do, just taking a look at what we have.
Right.
Yeah.
Great.
So you said that, those, they'll make recommendations for properties that would be transferred to control of the Conservation Commission or the Conservation Department?
It's under the care and custody of the commission. That's how they.
Okay,
label it.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ignorant, like, just what's the kind of like the scale of like how many properties, how many? I mean, I guess that's partially that they need to examine the titles to come up with a firm number, but like, what's the scale of that in terms of?
Yeah, I don't know how many properties there were, but just the areas from Maple Way over to JJ Round, that was going to be, I think, 100 acres of 99% tax title. There are a couple of parcels that are interspersed that are already under Conservation Commission. So it's
Okay.
a good amount of land.
Oh.
And the things I've seen in my 5 years on council, there's just these little pockets in neighborhoods sometimes, and then the neighbors want to purchase them to make their
Right.
yards bigger, which is fine, but I mean, I have always said, I want to understand, can they be used for conservation land or pocket parks
Right.
or things like that? And so
Well,
I've
yeah,
really more and more become reluctant of allowing those to be
Yeah.
personally.
yeah.
My vote is
That's what I
no.
wanted to bring up too, was it's a great opportunity to look at areas for pocket parks.
Yeah.
Where they're smaller. I mean, that would be a huge addition to a lot of neighborhoods.
Even just to have a
Mhm.
little corner somewhere, there's trees on it.
Exactly.
Because sometimes when they then go to people's properties, it's their property to do with what they want. We lose
Right.
control.
Right, right.
Oh.
The only other thing about public lands, I think Robin had mentioned an invasive removal program that she wanted to do a day. And she had contacted Rebecca Davis, the conservation agent, and I also spoke to Dennis about it. I don't know if Rebecca had reached out to him, but they had requested more information from Robin because she wasn't specific about what areas she was targeting, or I think they would most likely have to be a waiver of liability. So I don't know if she has anything formalized.
This is Robin Greenberg from the ESC?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
yeah, okay.
She had reached out to Rebecca about doing some invasive removal on town land, but she didn't give any details about what type of plan, so. I know Rebecca reached back out to her, but hasn't heard yet.
Right. Before we move on the next thing, I just saw your email, Julie, with the
Oh,
host
now
code
you're on. Oh, good.
and that now works. So whatever wasn't happening before should be happening now. So but that was not the code that was in the email. So might have been just a typo. All right. Okay. So nothing else then on public land interest update. I know Myra said she couldn't be on today, so I know that she often has some things in mind. That's why that agenda item was on from last time. All right, next, recruitment for Conservation Corps. We did circulate over the ESC's social media and reposting that to the various town groups, and also over our email list, which is small but growing. But I'm hoping that that email list has a lot of the folks who had signed up saying that they were interested in volunteer opportunities. So I'm hoping that might attract a few more people. And I think the plan was with that one, we would recirculate a few times because that one is a bit evergreen, right? Judy, I don't know if anyone's reached out to the department as a result of that.
There were 5 emails of interest, and we have 1 applicant so far. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty impressive, for a quick turnaround.
That's awesome.
Great.
And they'll be appointed. I'm assuming people just haven't filled out the application yet, so they'll be introduced and appointed at the April 18th conservation meeting.
Okay. I'm planning to join as well when I rotate off of ESC, so. Because that I want to stay engaged with different things, but I need less Zoom time in my life, given the nature of my
Right.
job and how it's played out, and more time facing other things. So I'm here to pick up sticks and clear trails.
Good.
So I'll be filling that out in a few weeks as well. Just
Good.
letting this come to an end first. So yeah, I mean, I hope that, and yeah, the plan there really was to that one we would send out probably every 2 months or so, I think, was what Tiana and I had discussed. And
Yeah.
we were a little bit of a victim of our own success with some of the general stuff. One of the town groups kicked us out briefly because we were posting too much, which there was some misunderstanding about how those limits might apply to us, but then they let us back, but said you can only post to the group once a week. So for that group, we have to, I think Tiana has to be a bit more has to prioritize what she wants to share there, but that's good.
And I also
Uh,
reached out to the Melrose Conservation Agent
Mhm.
to form some type of a collaboration, because we have shared trails off of Spring Street, and they had expressed interest in the past because they have trail wardens who are very active. So he's excited about that, trying to share some services, maybe share some, programs, ideas. I think that having a collaboration like that, I think, would be helpful. Especially since one of the goals that has always been in the open space plan is trying to have some sort of trail link close to the Middlesex Fells. So this is right in that pocket. So I think that would be, it would be a nice addition.
I love that.
That would be great. Yeah. The more connectivity everywhere, the better.
Right.
So, all right. Great. Anything else on that one then?
No, I'm all set with that.
Okay, item 7, I'm not sure if we're able to do this or not, which is schedule next meeting. I'm planning to rotate off with the next ESC meeting, so we can schedule a next meeting. I wouldn't be that, or we can defer that back to the ESC to see if with people coming off and new people coming on, if these committees are going to be reconstituted. So Myra's not here, but Julie, do you want to get a date on the books? to
Let's
invite
put
somebody
it
in?
on. I'm afraid if we don't, and I'll try to kind of step up and make sure we can make it work.
Okay.
I'm just
All right.
trying to figure out, when is the next ESC meeting? Is it the
next ESC meeting is the
Can't.
13th,
Oh, it is. Okay.
and then the 27th is the OSRP workshop that Judy mentioned at 7 o'clock. So
Maybe
I would think-
after, maybe after that?
I
You
think
think?
after
I think
that,
that's
and
a good
that
idea.
also, and then also if there's some new blood you're inviting in, that also gives a week or two for them. So we've been doing these Wednesdays at 7, and May 3rd at 7, I agreed to give a talk at the library. So
Oh, what is it on?
food and climate.
Oh,
food-
gosh, we don't want to schedule on top of that.
Yeah. So and if you did do it, then I wouldn't be able to join, although I might not be joining. And then so the 10th would be possible. I would not join on the 10th because I have theater tickets for something, but we could do the 10th if you want
But
to
you're not
keep
gonna be
this,
in
or we could
charge
do
of
the
it anymore.
9th.
You could, but you're always welcome, Sean.
Yeah, or we could do the 9th if you don't mind, a Tuesday, and then I would try to join if possible, because I'm going to be staying, even though I'm not on ESC, I'm going to be continuing as the ESC rep to the OSRP, so I should
Okay.
report back either to the ESC meetings or to this. Although
I can
Judy's all
do the
over.
9th or the 10th. Judy, what do you
Either-
prefer?
Either is fine with me.
Okay, let's go for the 9th then.
Let's go for the 9th. Let's just get it
yeah.
on the calendar.
Yep.
And we should have a good update from the 27th, which I'm not going to be able to
Right.
be at. I have a big event for client, but I'll be interested. I should assume you're gonna record it, right?
Yes,
Um,
yes, it'll be on Zoom.
Well, okay. So,
oh, wait, but if we do it on the 9th, then we're just 2 days before the ESC meeting, which
Oh, wait.
I'm fine with, but if that's too many meetings for ESC. So the other option would be to push it back again to the 16th or 17th.
Or if it's on the 9th, then Julie can give ESC an update on everything.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it on the 9th. It doesn't have to be a long one.
Okay, all right.
Right.
Since I need to send an agenda to Sherry, I can just kind of copy this one as our generic agenda and maybe take off recruitment for conservation goal or leave it on, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Or if anybody wants to request anything else.
I think this is fine. Anything else can go under matters not anticipated, or we can add it
Right.
on at the last minute.
Okay, great.
That's good. And if you want Sherry to send me the stuff, you can let me, it's fine.
Okay, I
You
will,
don't have to
I'll
host.
CC you on the request for the meeting, which I will probably do
Okay.
5 minutes after this call ends, because otherwise I will forget to do it
Okay.
forever. And then she can send that. I'll suggest she send it to you. Thank you.
Okay.
Really.
Thank you
matters
so much,
not-
Sean, for all you've done. Like, you will always be the
Yeah.
inaugural head of the Wakefield Land Use Committee.
And this was what I was going to say. I mentioned half of it earlier. This was my one item for matters not anticipated on the agenda. It really was that for me personally, this is just about I joined wanting to get to know my neighbors and get more involved in Wakefield. I have school age kids, but they don't go to school in Wakefield schools. They go to school in another town. And so since I moved to Wakefield, I've just not felt as connected as I wanted to. And so this has given me some of that, but unfortunately with the whole Zoom thing, it's exactly like I spend all day on Zoom and in front of a computer, and I know I'm talking to the wrong people because I know you do so much more of the evening work, both of you, for the town in your various roles, but just as a volunteer item for me, this is not providing the balance I needed, even though it is something I enjoy doing. And I'd like to try to rejoin in a year or two, but right now that's a challenge. So I'll stay involved in the things I've committed to. And like I said,
We definitely get it, and we will see you on the trails.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
I'll sign up there. And but the one part of this I do want to mention, particularly for you, Julie, although Judy, if you might have some chance for input, like I'm really torn on this because I realize that maybe my experience is not the norm, but this whole reinterpretation of what the public meeting laws mean, what they meant in COVID and what that means moving forward. I get it. And I completely understand that it's a way to make these meetings more accessible to the folks like the public participants who just were on, who otherwise wouldn't have come to a public meeting, things like that. But I do worry that for long-term, so I think I understand how it makes engagement easier for many people, but also since all the town's committees rely so heavily on volunteers of some sort or another, that it's a big change in what I believe it was before COVID. I wasn't involved before COVID. And I just worry that it limits, I've seen this in other things too. In my day job, review panels for grants or something we do. And when they move more and more of those online, it's a way to save money and everything. Yes, but the thing that the volunteers get is the FaceTime with each other and that is missing, right? So I met Julie in person by accident because I happened to be with my son at Socorro when they were having the after extension of I think it was town meeting or
Town meeting, yeah, we were just debriefing on town meeting.
yeah. And and I met, I think, I met 2 or 3 other people when we overlapped at the farmer's market, but that's it. So most of the people on the committee I haven't met in person, and it's not been that type of face-to-face engagement. So Julie, I just don't know and maybe my experience is the minority one, and maybe this
I
is
don't
an
know.
advance
I don't think you
by
are the
looking online.
minority one. I think this is really important feedback for us to get. In fact, if you wanted to kind of, I will write it down and I will carry that message, but if, if you want to write a few sentences down on it, I think it's a good thing to kind of have memorialized for me to share around as well.
I'm happy to, and the main reason I hadn't done it yet is I wanted to put just enough thought in it so it didn't look like some peevish resignation. Like, that's not what it was. It really was just like, I see the upsides for the regime we're operating in now, but the downsides may not be as obvious to some people involved, or maybe it is, because maybe and then the other thing is that this disconnect between only having one or two spaces that are suitable for the town's interpretation of what the online participation means, that's a real restriction. So at a minimum,
that's something we know. We're
Yeah,
putting
like-
a couple hundred, I think we're putting some money from ARPA in there to expand that. So we need to get up, and I don't know what the critical mass is, but we definitely need more space.
And I went through the hassle of getting approved to be somebody who can reserve space at the library, and then reserving something at the library just to have my wrist slapped at the last minute that that's not compliant. Even if I open up a laptop and record the whole meeting, even if we all had our laptops in front, they were saying, well, no, you need to have the recording equipment, right? And I'm like, what if everyone who goes opens a laptop and then our faces could be there, and it's, or we could have a few plug-in microphones so we could at least do this, so I think that the part for me that was really difficult is that even when 3 or 4 people want to meet in person, right now we can't.
Yeah. And okay.
So,
Yeah, definitely heard, and we definitely need to come up with some options
so
to work.
again, none of it's peevish. It's just that I need to volunteer in a different way, because I'm going stir crazy when I had 8.5 hours of Zoom calls that would have been 9 hours, except my internet went down, and that gave me forced an hour break before this meeting. So like, that's just for me.
Yeah.
I feel that, and however that plays out for others, I don't know. So, but I can also see that people maybe don't miss the days when they have to be running all over town and not getting home until late hours because of these meetings. So
I'm one of those.
yeah.
I really don't mind. I don't mind the Zoom meetings. You definitely lose something though in the public forum. I mean, you miss the, the cues that you would pick up when you're in a room with people. But I think it has helped in a way people that hadn't taken part in the public process. It's a lot less intimidating to speak to a group when you're on Zoom. So I'm hoping that may be a launching point for some people when we are back in person, that they'll feel more comfortable speaking in front, because it can be intimidating. You're in a room full of experts, and so I can understand that. So maybe it helps in that way once we're back in person.
Yeah.
And I'm on the fence. I have COVID right now, so I would not be in a meeting.
Oh, sorry, Julie.
Oh, it's fine. I was traveling and I think I got it on an airplane. I feel okay, but yeah. Anyway, so there's pros and cons to everything, as there are in life.
Yeah.
Several of my students came back from spring break, not coming back from spring break because
Oh, really?
They're like, oh, I was exposed to COVID and now I don't feel well, so I'm isolating for the next few days. And
Yeah.
Well, now the dilemma is, do you even test? But I had a lot of events tonight today for work, and I was like, oh, I feel a little sick. Who knew? So anyway, pros and cons.
Oh no.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you both. And I probably will
you.
see you on
27.
27. No, not the day, the May 9th. I put in my calendar and I didn't put in the notes. So,
Oh, okay.
The May 9th,
All
and
right.
your thing is, and your thing on May 3rd is in person, right?
Yeah, that's an in-person.
And what time is that?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. And Tiana's gonna publicize that too, I hope, right?
Yes, yeah. She drafted some language, and I don't know if it's been distributed yet or not, but
Okay.
and we'll see if people are interested. But yeah, just talking about some impacts that climate change has, not just on the availability of food, but the quality of food, which is where some of my own research has been the last few years, and the work of some of my collaborators. So it was something I was willing to do, and I had a public talk that I had given on it in a different setting that I was willing to update.
Oh,
for
I think
this.
it sounds
So,
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do too.
we'll
They
see.
get
I-
great turnout at the library forums.
Yeah, I don't know. Gretchen Carey's numbers, I don't think I'll touch, but if I get more than 5 people in there, I'll be happy. And actually Gretchen Carey, who gave the last one of these that was arranged out of the ESC, she's coming to my class in 2 weeks, I think.
Oh,
so,
she's great.
yeah, so so excited about that. All right,
Great.
any other matters not anticipated?
No,
Okay, then I always feel silly voting on a motion to adjourn with 3 people, but motion to adjourn.
So motion to
All
adjourn.
right,
All right.
Judy,
Yes.
you got us. You're the only one who
Yes.
second. So yeah, yep. All right.
All right.
See
Thanks,
you all
everybody.
later. Adjourn
Bye.
7:41. Bye.
have a nice Easter.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Thanks.